It all starts with Arata Kaizaki, a 27-year-old unemployed man, single and drunk. Basically, he is a failure, and on top of that, on the way home, his mother calls him and tells him that she has bad news, saying, "I can't give you any more money, and that you are 27 years old, so it's time you stood on your own feet." So he has to find a solution. After listening to the news, he was badly depressed. Then, suddenly a strange man in a suit shows up, who knows everything about Kaizaki. He says, "Kaizaki, you're unemployed, your mom stopped giving you money, and you're 27 with no steady job." Thunderstruck, Kaizaki asks, "Who are you?" He introduces himself as Ryou Yoake. He reveals that he is from the ReLife laboratory, and he offers Kaizaki a chance to be part of an experiment that will last 1 year. During this time, the company will pay all of Kaizaki's bills and he may get a job after it's done. Kaizaki asks what the catch is, and Ryou tells him that all he has to do is test this pill. He explains that you'll be able to rebuild your life and be a teenager again, so he'll have the opportunity to correct all the mistakes he made. And Kaizaki agrees as he doesn't have anything to lose. The next day, when he wakes up in the morning, he now looks 17 again. Kaizaki is confused and shocked. Ryou arrives at Kaizaki's house and explains that Kaizaki will now have to be a high school student for a year. This will give him a chance of starting a new life and improving himself. Kaizaki joins Aoba High School as a third-year student. He is nervous and tries to find a set in the back of the class. While in school, he meets several of his new classmates. Some of them are Kazuomi Oga and Ryou, but he also notices that Ryou is going to class with him. Kaizaki also meets a girl called Chizuru Hishiro, who seems to be very quiet and reserved. The teacher catches Kaizaki with cigarettes and calls him to her office. There, Kaizaki realizes that the teacher is only 2 years old and is actually younger than him. Kaizaki and Ryou meet after school, and Kaizaki officially begins his real-life adventure. Kaizaki begins his school career and is very bad at taking tests. He has failed all of them. He spends more time with his new friends Kazuomi and Ryou. Ryou sits right next to him and she is furious as Chizuru got better grades than her. She is a very competitive person. Because of the test, Ryou has now lost her chance of being the class representative. All the students go have lunch and Kaizaki spends more time with his new friends. All of them are strange in their own way, but Kaizaki likes them. Kaizaki then meets Chizuru during lunch, but they do not have a good start. Chizuru has forgotten her money, so she cannot buy lunch, and Kaizaki tries to help her. Her communication skills are not very good and the interaction is awkward. He finally manages to give Chizuru money and she thanks him. Kaizaki rejoins his friends and notices that Chizuru is eating alone. After the school day is done, Kaizaki is worried about his test results as he has failed most of them. He goes to talk to his teacher, and there he meets Chizuru once again. The two talk and Chizuru explains that she is very socially awkward and does not know how to speak to people. She has a hard time talking to any of her classmates and she can be very blunt sometimes. She wants to change that about herself and learn. Kaizaki gives her some advice and encourages her to talk to more people. Chizuru asks for Kaizaki's phone numbers so they can become friends, and he accepts. Later in the day, Ryou calls Kaizaki and explains that after the experiment, all of his classmates and teachers will forget about him. Kaizaki goes to school, and there he meets with Chizuru once again as she is trying to get better at communication. Chizuru actually gets along with Oga, the other class representative, and Kaizaki is impressed with how fast she is changing. The students have gym class, and there Kaizaki spends more time with his male classmates while Chizuru tries to make friends. She follows Kaizaki's advice and smiles more, but her smiles seem fake and creepy. During practice, Kaizaki gets hurt, and Ryou explains that while Kaizaki looks young, he is still a 27-year-old man, so his body is not as strong as before. Ryou and Chizuru spend some time, and Ryou notices her fake smiles and thinks that Chizuru is making fun of her. Chizuru and Kaizaki walk home after school and talk about their day. She is trying to work on herself. The next day, Ryou notices that Chizuru can smile just fine while she is talking to Kaizaki. Elsewhere, Ryou is watching his test subjects, and while he is happy about Kaizaki and his progress, the other test subject is not doing so well. Chizuru is trying to make friends and she likes Ryou, but her fake smiles are actually making Ryou angry and insecure. Ryou has always been competitive and she wanted the position of class representative. Now that Chizuru has taken that away from her, it seems that she is also making fun of her. As time goes on, Ryou becomes angrier and wants revenge against Chizuru. Ryou also really likes Kazuomi, but he is now a class representative with Chizuru. Meanwhile, Chizuru thinks that her and Ryou are becoming friends and that her efforts are going great. She talks to Kaizaki about it and he thinks that this might be a problem in the future. Kaizaki calls Ryou to talk about the situation as he wants to help his new friend. Ryou is impressed that Kaizaki cares so much and he gives him advice. Kaizaki notices that after he became older that losing his friends was really painful. One night, Rena stays at school way past its closing time. She is in the gym working on her volleyball skills. Then she notices that Chizuru is also there. Rena wants revenge, so she steals Chizuru's bag and runs away. Before she can escape, she runs into Kaizaki. He figured out that Rena stole Chizuru's bag and he tries to stop her. Rena falls down the stairs and Kaizaki tries to catch her. They both end up falling down the stairs. After a while, Kaizaki wakes up in the school medical bed. He was taken there with Ren after they fell. The school doctor tells him that they will both be okay. Kaizaki thinks about what Rena tried to do, and this reminds him of a situation he had at work. In one of his old jobs, he worked at an office where his senior colleagues made fun of and harassed one other co-worker. She was hard-working and successful, so they were jealous of her. Rena finally wakes up from her fall and she sees Kaizaki standing beside her. Kaizaki confronts her about her actions and what she tried to do. Rena starts to get emotional and explains why she was so insecure and frustrated. She really thought that Chizuru was making fun of her and taking away her accomplishment. Kaizaki then tells her that she must not compare herself to others, and especially Hera's other people, because she is jealous. Her accomplishments are her own and she should not compare them to others. Kaizaki also explains that Chizuru was not mocking her but trying to become friends with her. Rena starts to cry because she realizes that she has made a mistake. Kaizaki leaves the school and is then met by Chizuru, who was waiting for him. Chizuru has figured out that Rena took her bag, but she does not know the reason. At first, Kaizaki lies to her, but then he remembers the conversation he had with Ryou. He tells her the truth and Kaizaki is even more confused. She decides to stay behind and meet up with Rena to talk with her. Finally, Rena and Chizuru talk. Rena tells her all about her hate towards Chizuru. Chizuru then admits that she never hated nor wanted to make fun of Rena, she just wanted to be friends. She is not really good at social interactions, so that is why her smiles were strange. Rena finally realized how wrong she was and she accepts Chizuru's offer to become friends, but only if Chizuru will think of her as a worthy rival. Kaizaki wakes up in his apartment tired from school, but he then gets a knock on his door. When he answers, he realizes that Kazuomi and An have come to study with him. Both An and Kaizaki are so bad at taking that Kazumi wants to help them study. The three of them study for many hours and have fun, and starts to tease the boys, and they get a lot of work done. After a couple of hours, Kazumi has to go run an errand, so An and Kaizaki are left alone to study, and starts to act strange and begins to seduce Kaizaki. Ryou goes to check up on Kaizaki and logs into his phone. He then hears that An is trying to flirt. Ryou goes into a panic and runs to stop them, and takes off her glasses and moves in for a kiss. Thanks for watching. Please stay connected with us to watch the second part of the ReLife anime. Have a great day.